Hey, how's it going? I'm Nick Gasca and welcome back to I Could Do That DIY. Today we're finishing up another project that I started and never completed. Today we're finishing up a Jane Boolittle doll I did in the past. Here's the doll, and here's the original doll. I've already done the reroute and kind of styled it. We're doing this little updo Shih Tzu pony. I really love it. And today's inspiration for the face up is going to be Twiggy, Brigitte Bardot, and Tracy Martel. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. Step 1. Face up prep. So like usual for today's face up, we're going to prep by wrapping the hair and the body with plastic wrap. First I'm going to start by wrapping the hair and then just tape around the hairline with Scotch tape. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the body. After that's all wrapped up, I'm going to do 2 layers of Mr. Super Clear's base. Step 2. Face up. Alright, let's get started on this face up. I'm going to start by outlining the eye design with a black watercolor pencil. The main inspiration for today's eye shape is Tracy Martel and Twiggy. I really love Tracy Martel's eye makeup. It's really mod and bold, and it really goes with the 60s aesthetic. So like I said, I'm going to start with the black watercolor pencil and just outline this big wing shape and a little bit of the under eye. And yeah, let's do the other side as well. Remember, erase as you go and try to be as symmetrical as possible. Some people like to start with the lighter color rather than black, but I tend to just go in right with black. I'm also using another brush to wipe away any crumbs or erase flecks. You don't want to get those on your base layer or any layers of your face up. Once I'm happy with the outline, I'm just going to color in the wing. Still using my black watercolor pencil, I'm going to outline the iris. Alright, let's start working on some highlight. I'm just going to grab my white pan pastel and brush it on. I'm going to start with the cheekbones and then do the nose bridge and the forehead and the chin. Then I'm going to grab my light pink pastel and start blushing out the lips and the cheeks. For the iris color today, I'm going to be doing a green. So I'm just going to grab my light green watercolor pencil and color in the iris. Then I'm going to grab my white watercolor pencil and color in the sclera. On the next layer, I'm going to grab my white watercolor pencil and start on that bold graphic white line that wraps around pretty much almost the entire eye. I'm starting at the outer wingtip and working my way in. After I put the base of that outline down, I'm going to work on building up the sclera color. And also work on refining the eyeliner shape as I go. And build up the iris color with the green watercolor pencil. Then I'm going to start working on the lips with the dark pink watercolor pencil. Remember to sharpen your pencil as you go to keep a crisp line. And also blend it out a little bit with a Q-tip. Then I'm going to continue to build up that color with the light pink pastel. And add more highlight as well with my white pastel. And of course it wouldn't be Tracy Martel makeup without a lot of blush, so let's add more blush. I'm going to do a base of light pink and then do a darker pink towards the top. And now I'm just going to work on the eyes a little bit off screen. I'm going to add some pastels and some watercolor pencil to the iris. Alright, let's just continue building up that color. I'm going to start by building up the opacity of the white eyeliner. While I do that, I do have to say this hobby is more meant for adults. These dolls are not really meant for play, they're more for collectors and for display. A lot of the materials are hazardous and messy, so they're more meant for adults or someone with adult supervision. Okay, let's start building up the green in the iris. I'm going to start by using a darker green watercolor pencil on the top of the iris. Then I'm going to color in the sclera a little bit with the white watercolor pencil. And of course redefine that eyeliner. Then I'm going to blend that dark green watercolor pencil with some light green watercolor pencil. Alright, let's put in the pupil. Using my black watercolor pencil, I'm going to start at the center and gradually get larger. And then build up the outline of the iris with the dark green watercolor pencil. Okay, let's work on these brows. Using this honey tone pen pastel, I'm going to brush on a general eyebrow shape. Then I'm going to sketch out the shape with my eraser. I'm just going to gradually erase it away and work out a shape. Try to keep it as symmetrical as possible. I know this can be a challenge, but do your best. I don't think I've mentioned this, but I am spraying Mr. Super Clear in between all the layers, and wearing a ventilator mask while I do this. After I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to move on to the lips. I'm going to work on building up that color with some watercolor pencils and some pastels. I'm doing a sort of ombre where it gets darker on the outside and lighter towards the inside. Then I'm also going to build up the iris color with some more pastel. I'm doing a lighter green on the bottom of the iris and blending it out to a darker green on the top. This really gives the irises some dimension and some life. Now I'm blending out the lip a little bit with a Q-tip. I'm just going to continue to add color and blend it out a little bit. On the next layer, we're going to continue building up the color of the white and black eyeliner. I really enjoy finishing up these procrastination dolls that I've held on to for a very long time. I really have a lot of outstanding projects that I haven't finished, so don't be surprised if you see more videos like this where the reroute's already done, and sometimes the outfit's done too. Now I'm just adding some brow hairs with a orange watercolor pencil. I'm also going to add some dimension by doing some white hairs as well. Then I'm going to use my white watercolor pencil to add some detail to the eyes, as well as some highlight to the lips. Then I'm going to blend out the highlight with a Q-tip. And continue to work on the iris with my black watercolor pencil. After that, let's work on some highlight. Now we're going to add a little bit more dimension to these eyebrows with a darker brown watercolor pencil. I'm just going to add a few more hairs to the outside. Now to give the eyes more dimension, I'm going to start my shading with my black pastel. I'm going to do the top of the iris and the sclera, as well as build up the shadow shape. It hooks just around the white eyeliner, so be careful not to contaminate the white eyeliner. Just go right around the outside, and blend towards the inside. I'm just going to clean up a little bit with my white watercolor pencil, as well as add a little bit of texture to the lip. On the next layer, we're just going to continue to build up our color and texture. I'm going to start by adding some white highlights to the brows with my white watercolor pencil. Then I'm going to add some more orange. And a little bit of brown too. Then I'm going to continue to build up that white eyeliner shape with some white watercolor pencil. And highlight the sclera a little bit too. Then I'm going to redefine the eyeliner with the black watercolor pencil, as well as darken up the pupil. And brighten up the iris a little bit with my white watercolor pencil. Then let's darken up this eyeshadow a little bit more with some black pastel. And we use a very small brush and just edge it in. Now I'm adding a little bit more dimension to the lips with a dark pink pastel. Alright, let's highlight these eyes. Using a white acrylic paint, I'm going to add some catch lights. I do them different every time, so let's see how this turns out. Alright, cool, that looks great. Now let's add a tear duct with a pink watercolor pencil. And, of course, more blush! Yes! Let's also add some pink pastel to the lips as well. Alright, on the next layer, let's work on these eyelashes. I'm just going to start on the outside and work my way in. Feel free to erase as you go. I often make mistakes and correct as I go. Cool, those look great. Now let's add a little bit more highlight to the brow bone. Now I'm just going around and doing any final touches with some pastels and some watercolor pencils. And I forgot to highlight the lips, so I'm just going to add a little glare to the lip. With that, the face up is complete. Step 3. Finishing touches. Alright, here she is, all done with her face up. Next step is to add some lashes. So I'm just going to grab some fake lashes and cut them and trim them to shape. I'm using my scissor and point cutting the inner edge a little bit because it's a little long. Then I'm going to pick off the excess glue and bend the lash to shape. After that, I'm going to add a little bead of glue to the back of the lash and then plop it on. Then of course, I'm going to mess around with it until I'm happy with the position. I use a pin to wipe away any excess glue and help position the lash. Make sure to be very careful when you do this to not mess up your face up. I tend to mess around with this a long time. I really don't want a wonky lash or an overly sleepy eye. I'm going to mess around with it until I'm really happy with the position. Then I'm going to move on to the other eye. After I get both lashes into position, I'm going to set it aside to dry. The next step is gloss, so let's grab our little brush and our gloss, and start by brushing it onto the eyes. I'm going to start with the right eye, and then move on to the left eye, and then the lips. It goes on a little hazy, but dries nice and bright and shiny. I know a lot of doll artists don't like to do the eyes because it's bad for photography or whatever, but I really like the life it brings to it, and I tend to do it every single time. So here she is with her lashes and all glossed up and pretty much almost complete. Here's the dress I made off screen. I know I'm pretty horrible, I'm sorry, but here are the references I pulled and here's my original sketch. Here are the boots and the purse I ended up not using. I really don't like the red print on the side of the boots, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it with acetone. I'm doing this on screen because I didn't make the outfit on screen. I'm really sorry, but here's something. I'm also going to be adding my little Bridget Bardot bow to the top of the ponytail on screen just for you. It also reminds me of a little Shih Tzu bow too. So I'm just grabbing some black ribbon and cutting it to length or guesstimating the length. folding it over a little bit on itself, and then tying the center with some thread. I'm going to leave the thread attached to the needle so I can hook it through the ponytail. Oh, I also burnt the cut edges too. I'm going to wrap it around a few times just to reinforce the bow. Does it look good on this boot? No. Alright, let's sew this on. I'm just going to hook it through, do a couple knots, and then reinforce it a little bit by going through a couple more times. Now let's just finish it off by doing a couple knots, just giving a quick snip, burn the edges, be careful of the hair, and the bow's done. Alright, now that everything's complete, let's go ahead and get her dressed. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope it helped. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at iCouldDoThat.diy and at Kawaii Dollies. The Kawaii Dollies Instagram is a little bit more doll focused and it has a lot of my old work if you want to check it out. Also, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on all of our latest projects. We'll definitely be doing more doll customs in the future, so check it out. Step 4. Doll Photo Shoot. So here she is, here's the finished result. I'm so happy with how she turned out. She's not quite a Tracy Martel, she's more of a Tracy Martel. She doesn't have the same hair or the same makeup, and of course she's not purple. She doesn't really ever do green eyes or red hair. But yeah, I'm really happy with how she turned out. She has a lot of different inspirations. She's kind of more of just like a 60s mod doll. And yeah, she's really cute. I think the makeup is pretty close though. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I'm so sorry you missed a lot of the process. I did the reroute a long time ago before I was even filming, and I did the dress off screen when I was doing it as a test dress, but it ended up being really cute and I had to use it. I hope at least you enjoyed watching me do the face up and accessorizing her. For the rest of the video, just enjoy the rest of the photos. There's actually just this photo, so enjoy this photo! Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!